Hi there, I'm meteorologist Robert Spetty here with you today. It is currently the 19th of August, 2014. What you are looking at here is actually the 24-hour forecast from the Japan Meteorology Agency, where they now have stamped a tropical depression, even on the nowcast, the current surface analysis. They also have this tropical depression. Now, this is a minor tropical depression just off the southeastern coast of China. This likely will not get a name, at least in the next 24 hours, as it moves over land. And by the time it gets moved off here towards the north, it looks like it's going to get wrapped up in this stationary boundary, actually a warm and cold front kind of moving through there, and it'll start to gain some extra tropical characteristics. But that's the big topic today, really. And as far as the tropics have been concerned for, well, feels like a good week now, things are pretty quiet. Now, as we take a look at the satellite imagery, you can see even where this tropical depression is, a minor tropical depression. I have to note that because minor means it's basically just a swirl out here in the tropics. Where it is, it really already is getting wrapped up with this frontal area, which kind of shows the remnants. It really looks like the remnants of the Mayu Bayou front that typically extends just like that during the spring and early summer months. And by now, this should be totally dispersed, but it has been setting up out here, bringing some heavy rainfall across southern portions of China, even some very serious flooding. Same thing goes for western portions of Japan and northern Japan, where last weekend we saw some severe damage, especially off there towards western Honshu and into the Kii Peninsula. And then across the Korean Peninsula, we've also been seeing some strong thunderstorms. So really, what this tropic is, it's not something originating out here. It's wrapped up with this same boundary, which has already been bringing problems. So as far as the forecast is concerned, too deeply involved in the fact that it is tropical, because we've already been seeing these showers basically lingering out here. In some areas, still could see 200 to 300 millimeters all by itself and without this tropical really being combined with it. So as I mentioned, though, the next 24 hours, this is going to be over land, and it's definitely not going to upgrade. Now, where the controversy might come in here by late Wednesday and the early Thursday morning is as it moves over the Yellow Sea, could it gain some tropical characteristics? My thoughts, no. I mean, if we take a look at the upper levels here, there's a lot of vertical wind shear. Look at the difference in the winds between the lower levels and the upper levels. That's going to be indicating the vertical wind shear, and if anything forms up, the bulk of the precipitation is going to be off towards the right of the circulation. There won't be anything up here towards the left. So if we get a low right there, this is going to be very well leaning to the right, and what that means, it really isn't going to be holding the tropical characteristics. Plus, sea surface temperatures in this area, all that conducive for tropical development. Farther down towards the south, you see it around 80 and above degrees Fahrenheit, and that's these areas in the red. This is kind of borderline tropical development, and if anything does come through there, you really need prime conditions. But right now, sea surface temperatures, especially closer to the Korean Peninsula, just too cold. As I mentioned before, it could be controversial, and it depends on what JMA says. If the Japan Meteorological Agency thinks it does have those tropical characteristics, then we could be seeing, well, a tropical storm. But right now, I think it's unlikely. Regardless, though, we are going to be looking at some heavy precipitation starting basically on Thursday and heading over towards Friday for much of the Korean Peninsula. Also over through western Japan and the Kyushu, you have this cold front that's going to develop off of this. That's going to pump the moisture on shore. And more so, you have the low and that moisture funneling in from the south. And that's going to create some thunderstorms out here in these areas that don't need it anymore, especially in western Japan along the Pacific seaboards. Seoul, you could be seeing some gale force winds as well. Let's zoom in on this, and what we see here, especially over towards Seoul, is the storm coming on shore, but we're looking at these winds right around 30 to 40 knots. So even if it doesn't have those full-blown tropical characteristics, doesn't matter if you're planning a day out here on the beach on Thursday and Friday, because it is going to be some nasty weather, plus moving overhead on Friday with those heavy showers. Meanwhile, back towards the east, though, our storm system will eventually work its way off towards the east by the weekend, bringing those showers for northern Japan and even extending down towards the south, where we could be seeing a scattered shower by Saturday evening and across the Tokyo area. I know a lot of people have Hanabi planned up those fireworks, myself included. So let's hope that the mountains, the rain shadow around Tokyo, plays its part. That often happens. Watch this. The showers hit these mountains around the Tokyo metro area, and you don't see much rain in the Kanto plain. That's always nice when that follows through. So, yeah, that's what we're watching off here towards the north. I do want to mention the Philippines. Afternoon thunderstorms flaring up here, but nothing really going on to enhance it. We also have a weak tropical wave off towards the east near the Mariana Islands. We're keeping an eye on this one, but models show very little in development. And plus another one down towards the south we're keeping a very close eye. And I'll show you a couple runs of the latest NavGem and GFS for those guys that really want to see the long-range outlooks. And as far as what we are seeing right now, we have a negative Rossby wave overhead. That means a lot of vertical motion going downward, suppressing any development, and that keeps things on the quiet side. So what we have right now is not much developing. The NavGem shows a couple little swirls there, but then they fade away. From the Climate Prediction Center for the, well, basically heading out through the 20th of August through the 26th, below average rainfall. That's what this area in the yellow is indicating out there in the western Pacific. We do have a lot more storms flaring up. That's the positive Rossby wave we have in the eastern Pacific, but over towards the west, it is negative. So we're going to be looking at drier than normal conditions. This is actually very typical for an El Nino year. I do want to mention that quite often in El Nino years, you see dry conditions down here towards the south, and what you get is some more rain showers than normal across Japan, which we are exactly seeing, and also severe drought in northeastern China, which we have been seeing. Some areas in northeastern China just, they need the rain very, very seriously. Actually, millions of dollars worth of agriculture lost just because of the drought going on out here. It's been very arid, so they definitely need the rain. Unfortunately, it's all been lingering farther towards the south. That said, that is all for right now, everybody. Thanks again for watching here at westernpacificweather.com. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can always post them down there in the comment box below. Don't forget to explore the website. Even in this quiet time, we still got a lot of products going on, so always appreciate it if you go check those out. All right.